Welcome, everybody. Are you all excited? Today is the first session of MEP Live. My name is Bonnie, and I am actually from Colombia originally. I am a grad student here at the Purdue University at the Department of Aerospace Engineering, and I work with the Minority Engineering Program, and I'm very excited to have you guys connect with us today. First session, MEP Live. My name is Mrs. Okay, so technical difficulties. Okay, so I want to welcome you all today. If you see on my screen, hopefully I'm sharing my screen. I want to say congratulations to all of you for being admitted to Purdue University. It is amazing to have you, and I know it's a big milestone because it's not easy to get admitted to Purdue. I am not hosting tonight. I'm just gonna give you a little bit of the like an idea of what we're gonna do today. So we're gonna have a panelist of alumni from Purdue University and from the MEP program that will be hosting the session today. We have most of the MEP core staff members, so you will learn from them today. And I'm just gonna go really quickly through some of the I want to call it code of conduct, but it's sort of an idea of how, oops, sorry. What to do when we are doing Zoom. So as I said, today is the first session. What I want to remind you all is that we want us to be polite. That means that we want to keep our microphones muted so that we don't have any background noise whenever anybody else is speaking. We want to make sure that we are paying close attention to what our panelists are saying. And by all means, if you have never used Zoom, there is a feature that is called raise hand. And so if you have a question, by all means, use that so that we know that you are wanting to intervene. And also there is a chat room. So if you don't feel comfortable, posing your question yourself, you can also type it in the chat room. As I said, we have current alumni connected, we have the MEP core staff member connected, and we have our awesome current students also connected. So any questions that you guys have about MEP and anything that we're doing, just let us know. So with that, I'll give it to Mr. Williams. Go ahead. And you are muted, Mr. Williams.
Hello, everybody, and good evening. My name is Derek Williams-Bacon, and I am the program administrator for the MEP, the Minority Engineering Program. And we're so glad that you joined us, and we know others will be joining as we move forward. We hear the bells ringing, and that's folks coming in. So in addition to just saying welcome, I want you to know that in addition to watching this, participating in this video, you can also, we're on YouTube. And so you can, in the event you have a friend who's not able to join us, they can watch us live on YouTube, but they can also watch previously recorded episodes. So all these will be on YouTube. And all you have to do is go to YouTube and search the Purdue MEP channel. Now, this interactive virtual experience is especially designed for you, admitted seniors, as well as parents, to share the successes and strategies, also about transition to major, housing options, learning communities, as well as connecting with students, successful alumni. And in today's episode, you're going to hear from 4 alumni. You hear their stories, how they came to Purdue, how they found family, and a strong sense of support through the Minority Engineering Program. Of course, as we said earlier, if you have questions, feel free to mention them in the chat room. So with no further ado, we're going to move on in the program, and we're ready to introduce the director of the Minority Engineering Program. Her name is Virginia Booth Womack, and she's loved by many of the students, and I have a sneaking suspicion that you will come and grow to love her as well. So if you would, now receive Miss Virginia Womack.
Thank you, Derek, for the introduction, and I'm really happy to see all the students that have come and joined us today. I see we also have some Purdue students that are online, and we really welcome them. We just want to have sort of a family, just sort of a chill session where we can just think about, you know, what is college going to be like? What's Purdue like? You know, just get real stories from students that are here as compared to listening to me or someone else to tell you some, you know, grandeur story about how great it is. Purdue is a great university. We have our challenges, but I've met so many phenomenal students here. So just as they have an affinity towards me, I'm very much in love with them. To see the alums that are back, I remember one that you're going to meet up in the upper left-hand corner, Vicente. He started coming to MEP programs in the 6th grade, and I have pictures to prove it. He had toothpick legs, and he had a blue outfit, and he kept coming back each year, and then he came to Purdue, graduated with a degree in chemical engineering, and is just doing some great things. So we are a family. We do a lot of things in the K-12 arena, and you hear a little bit about that. I think Bonnie's gonna throw some slides up so that I don't ramble. I have a tendency to talk way beyond what I need to. So let me fix my screen so that I can see. Alrighty, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the staff that's here at MEP. Of course, I'm the director. I'm a Purdue alum. I was at Purdue way back in the day, so we're not going to say when. But I spent about 18 years in manufacturing before coming back to Lafayette, Indiana, and directing this program. So I've got pretty extensive experience professionally, but now I'm studying for a PhD, which is a shocker to me because my brain is in complete denial of going through this process. But I'm almost done with all my classes. I've only got one B so far, and I'm really excited about what I'm doing here at Purdue. We have Dr. Gatson, and I'll let Dr. Gatson tell you a little bit about herself. Jackie?
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Gatson. Students here like to call me Dr. G, so I go by that as well. So welcome. I am a native of Louisiana. Did my undergraduate work at Grambling State University. I am also a graduate of Kansas State University, and came to Purdue about a year ago now. I'm the interim associate director, and I also work with our graduate students and as the graduate and organizational diversity strategist. And what that means is here at Purdue and MEP, we have a mindset of grooming students from grade 3 to PhD. So I serve as an advocate and a liaison to our graduate students and our graduate programs as well. So the program that we have planned for you today won't focus on that primarily as undergrad students, but I'm definitely here to answer any questions about that you might have. And I will turn it back over to Ms. Womack.
Thank you, Jackie. You may have heard some little gurgling in the background. Jackie just gave birth to a beautiful son. I think he's maybe 3 or 4 weeks old. How old is he, Jackie?
6 weeks yesterday.
6 weeks yesterday. So she's multitasking for real. So we also have Dr. Carol Swally. Dr. Swally is not available today. She wasn't able to come online, but she wanted to tell everyone hello, and you'll meet her at future meetings. You've met Derek Williams. Mrs. Kenner also is out, and she told me to tell you all hello, and you'll meet her on another session, as well as Heather Core. She's our Assistant Director of Communications. But we do have Tamara Markey here, and we have a program called Algebra by 7th Grade. So Dr. Gatson talked about we go from grade 3 to PhD. But this year we actually picked up some second graders. So we now go from grade 2 to PhD, and they're participating in a program called Algebra by 7th grade. We're concerned that some of our young people are falling out of the pipeline as early as 4th grade, and that's just not okay. So we partnered with some schools in Lafayette. We put together a program. This is our 3rd year. We're seeing phenomenal results. So we want to spread it nationally. So our national director for AB7G is Tamara Markey. She was recently named the Teacher of the Year for the state of Indiana, and she'll tell you a little bit about her background. Tamara?
Hello, everyone. My name is Tamara Markey, and it is truly an honor to be here this evening with you all and to be working with the Minority Engineering Program, which is a program that is near and dear to my heart. So I'm one who can't get enough of Purdue. I graduated with a BS in Industrial Engineering in 1994, and then a Master's of Science in Engineering Technology Education in 2016. And now I have the wonderful privilege of championing the Algebra by 7th grade program through the Minority Engineering Program. So I'm hoping that you all will see how special our program and our university is, and you'll see that many of us just can't get enough of Purdue. We were in the very seats that you're sitting in right now, making difficult decisions on what universities to go to, and I do believe that we chose well in choosing Purdue University. Thank you.
Okay. So just to give you a little bit of an overview, if you can see the screen, I don't need to read that to you, but we do have a mission and a vision, and we want to be known for our impact on the world. And the key thing about our mission is outreach, recruitment, retention, and graduation. We all have core metrics here in the office. Everybody knows how their job ties to those metrics. And you are part of our yield or recruitment program, which would have been previewed. We did have one preview group that came in back in February. We were going to have another one in April. And we're going to do this in lieu of another preview program. And it'll get more involved as we go because we want to give students a better feel for what Purdue has to offer. And the programs we've sort of talked about, I'm not going to read through those, but if you have a brother or sister in grades 6, 7, or 8, typically in the summer, we have 1-week residential programs for grades 6 through 10. And then for 11th graders, we have an academic boot camp that really focuses on pumping up those SAT scores and getting students in a growth mindset for college. And we have an engineering academic boot camp for incoming first-year engineering students. We're working right now on a virtual platform for that. And it's looking really good because it just breaks my heart to drop it. So we will put together a virtual platform. And some of the professionals you're seeing here now may be able to give us a video reality preview of some of the work they're doing. If they're still at home, it's hard to do that. But if they're back on the job, we want to get some live shots. We do have alums that are in the medical field that I've reached out to maybe see what they're doing in the area of prosthetic development or even in hospitals. But I'm going to go back to our host for today, and there are students that we're going to really love. So I'll let them introduce themselves, starting with Robbie Williams. And I will say, she may not say this, she's the only African-American female graduate in mechanical engineering for this past school year. And we have a lot of those only ones. It's not a good thing, but to see a student come in and graduate in 4 years, in spite of the fact that no one else, you know, is in that major that's a peer of hers in terms of being in the same grade. So Robbie, glad to have you here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Robbie,
I don't hear
and
you.
can you hear me? Yeah, okay. My name is Robbie Williams. I am originally from Cleveland, Ohio. I currently work for Procter & Gamble. I'm an associate scientist in the baby care business.
Can you all hear her?
Yeah, I think it's just you, Ms. Booth. I'm an associate scientist for the baby care business in research and development. I do products research and product design, which is a fancy way of saying I do consumer studies and cost savings. I graduated from mechanical engineering this past December. And as Ms. Booth said, I was the only African-American graduate of mechanical engineering for the 2019 entire year. While I was at Purdue, I was super involved with the NSBE chapter. So NSBE is the National Society of Black Engineers, and it was founded here at Purdue University in 1975. So we are the founding chapter, or the mother chapter, as we refer to ourselves. I served multiple leadership positions within NSBE, including chapter president the 2018-2019 school year. I was also part of the mechanical engineering ambassadors. So I was a tour guide for the School of Mechanical Engineering. I was an emerging leaders scholar. So I know a lot of the scholarships just went out, and I'm sure a few of you are also part of that program. My junior year, I did a study abroad. So I was actually in Spain for 6 months as part of the engineering term abroad program. And throughout my 4.5 years at Purdue, I did 4 different internships. So 2 of those were at GE Healthcare in Milwaukee, and then the other 2 were with Procter & Gamble in Cincinnati, which is where I live now. And I believe, so the question I think that was provided to us was favorite Purdue or MEP experience. I would say for me, it was definitely the NSBE conferences. So the image that's kind of in the center of the screen is from one of the national conventions. I think this was last year in Detroit. Super fun experience. You meet thousands of people from all over the country, all over the world, and you get an opportunity to network. There's a career fair, there's competitions, there's social opportunities. So it's definitely a really fun experience, and I definitely recommend it for everyone that pursues engineering.
Okay, Adam.
By our striking resemblance, I'm Robbie's older brother. So I started at Purdue 2 years prior to her. I started, 2013. My parents took me to MEP Preview. That was like 2012. Met Ms. Booth, Ms. Manning, Dr. Dickerson, and the whole MEP crew at that time. And they pitched us university, pitched us MEP, and more importantly, pitched us boot camp. So for those of you not familiar, boot camp, or academic boot camp rather, is a 6-week rigorous program that is done every year prior to the start of your freshman year courses. Prior to the start of your freshman year courses, yep, there it is there. And you essentially take an entire semester of courses within that 6-week, or rather 5-week period. And so you're taking Calc 1, chemistry, there's even an engineering component. Ironically, my engineering instructor during boot camp, Jorge, is also on the call. I was like, oh, hey, you're here. You're in Houston? I'm in Houston. It's great. So yeah, here are the courses here, all of which you use your first semester. So that was really helpful for me coming out of high school rather, to this top 10 university and already having a leg up in the competition. So like Robbie, I'm also from Cleveland, Ohio. Currently, I live in Houston, Texas, working at Emerson. Emerson is an automation and commercial solution provider. So what that basically means is we provide a number of products, software, services, anything under the sun that can go into an automotive or an industrial space. So everything from flow meters, transmitters, cloud management software, apps that the people in the control room can use to help monitor and control their system. We automate all those systems. So I joined Emerson through their engineers and leadership program. So it's a 2-year rotational program. You do a year abroad, a year in the States. So after graduating from Purdue in 2017, I moved overseas to Singapore, was there for a year, worked on a project, and then currently live here in Texas as a product manager for one of their natural gas flow measurement devices. While I was at Purdue, like Robbie, I was involved in NSBE. I was the program chair of NSBE. I was also an emerging leader scholarship recipient. And one of the big things I was involved in was the tutorial center. So I was a chemistry and math tutor for like 3 or 4 years while I was there. So I helped students with Chem 111, 112, 115, 116, Calc 1, everything under the sun. So I really enjoyed doing that. And like my sister as well, I studied abroad quite a few times. I went to Spain once and France twice. I got my minor in French. So a lot of great international opportunities at Purdue. I mean, almost everybody out of our class studied abroad in some way. And I also moved around quite a bit with my co-ops and internships. So I did a 2-rotation co-op with Kimberly Clark. I was actually connected with that through NSBE at one of the NSBE conferences. And I interned at Chevron as a intern in their in one of the refineries up in Northern California. So Wisconsin, Atlanta, California, overseas, I've been everywhere with Purdue and MEP. So I'm really thankful for it. As far as, I think one of the questions was, what does MEP mean to me? To me, there's really no other way to describe it besides family. And I'm sure other people on this call will also describe it as that. So I'm sorry if I took your answer, guys. But that's really the first thing that comes to mind. I mean, it's the most incredible, comforting support group ever. I know going away to school can be scary. My sister and I both went out of state, and Ms. Booth really helped us never miss a beat. So thanks for having me.
All right, thanks, Adam. Hey guys, my name is Jorge. I'm originally from Mexico City, and I graduated from Purdue back in 2014 with a degree in civil engineering. Currently, I work for the company called Solmax, and the company manufactures several different products for containment, for waste containment. So that would be landfills, also mining, and oil and gas. Those are the 3 main industries that we focus on. I cover all of Latin America, 10 states in the US, and Eastern Canada. And so my job title is value engineer, but essentially it's a project consultant, technical manager. My role is communicate, build relationships with engineers, get our products on the plans, wine and dine. That's the fun part. And travel. I get to travel a lot and do a lot of presentations. And none of that would be possible if it wasn't for all my experiences in the past. While I was at Purdue, I was very involved in all these different organizations. MICE, Society for Latinos in Engineering and Science. I was very heavily involved with that. I was the president for 2 years and then treasurer for 1. SHIP, I was involved with the go-karts, which if you like cars, Purdue has an annual go-kart race, which I believe is still going. Obviously not this year, but every year. And that was a lot of fun. That brings me to the next one, which is the MEP Summer Project. Ms. Booth gave me the opportunity to lead this class, and it was a lot of fun. We pretty much put this go-karts together, put the engines, roll cages, and it was we're kind of pioneering that project that year. So there was a lot of things that we were trying to figure out as we were going, but it was very exciting. I mean, just getting to work on a go-kart and drive a go-kart, just a lot of fun. And I think Adam can agree because he was in the class. That was one of those summer boot camps projects.
Yeah, I have a picture. I was trying to find it. I was trying to pull up this old picture, and I look like a child, and you look like a child. Yeah, I'm going to find it. I'm going to come back.
I know. I was looking for that picture earlier today, but I ran out of time. I know exactly what you're talking about. And then I was involved in LCC tutoring for 1st through 6th grade students. ACI, I was a webmaster. I think that I just did that just to put something on the resume, but I was kind of like I would update the website here and there. And then I was a member of Delta Pi Rho, which is a fraternity. And you can see a picture on the bottom right. But ultimately, for me, when I think of the MEP experience, I think of the go-kart, and I think of the go-kart project because it was a learning opportunity and it was a very exciting opportunity. If I have to think of a secondary honorable mention, I think it would be the going to MEP office and being able to just walk in and get a hug from Miss Booth. She's very huggable, and you know you're going to college, you're going away from your family, so that is one aspect that you know you need a hug, right? And so it was very easily accessible, just going to Miss Booth and you know. But yeah, I'm excited to see you guys' names in the future. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them, I guess, through the Q&A. But yeah, thank you guys.
I found the photo, by the way, if you want to see it, Jorge.
Go ahead. I think I need to stop sharing for that. So go ahead.
All right, let's do this. I'll do that. Where's it
I
at?
know exactly which photo it is. I think I'm leaning over the.
Here it is. I found it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you are. There I am. Yeah.
Oh my God, you guys.
And there's that iconic photo.
Yeah, there's
I know.
Tony.
I'm sorry. I
Boy,
didn't mean
you
to
guys look
hijack
so
the call, but I know.
Man, I've gained some weight. That's
Fun
awesome.
times, fun times.
All
That's
right.
awesome.
Vicente, you ready?
Yeah. Hey, everyone. I'm Vicente Garcia. I'm originally from Hammond, Indiana. And currently, I'm an asset performance management engineer at a consulting firm called Pinnacle Advanced Reliability Technologies. I'm based in Houston. And for the last 3 years, I've been primarily focused on the oil and gas business. What I'm responsible for at work is designing, implementing, and maintaining mechanical integrity programs. What that means is if you imagine a platform exploring for oil in the Gulf of Mexico, they've got tons of equipment out there, pressure vessels, heat exchangers, tanks, this massive equipment. And what I'm responsible for is monitoring the state of that equipment so we can predict when they'll fail and replace them before that happens to protect the environment and to keep hefty fines away from the companies and protect the company too. Before that, I was able to try my hand at business development for a chemical company called Praxair, and that was an awesome experience. And I got to travel all across the country for that. And actually got my start in engineering at my first job in Salt Lake City area, working for a consumer goods company manufacturing processed cheese, cream cheese, yogurt, stuff like that. So heavy in the dairy industry there. I grew up as the oldest of 6, and 4 of us would ultimately go study at Purdue. So I'm very proud of that I set the vibe for the family. The other 2 went to IU, nothing I could do about that. Well, I got started with MEP, as Ms. Booth mentioned, with the 6th grade summer engineering workshop. And so that was really my first experience leaving home. And when I got to Purdue, we went to a dining court. I remember very clearly this like buffet of awesome food that I got to eat. Got to stay in the Purdue Union Hotel, which is awesome. And I mentioned the fact earlier that I grew up with 5 siblings because I got a hotel room to myself. I got my own bathroom. Never had that before. And after I experienced that, I knew that Purdue was the place for me. But I continued to go visit for other programs, and I was just playing hard to get. I already knew I was going to go to Purdue, and I just loved MEP and the experiences that they were giving me. So I kept continuing to go back. The second program I participated in was called Promise, and that was focused on getting me to apply and helping students and parents navigate the application process, which was extremely valuable because I was the first person in my family to go to university, and I'm sure a lot of folks out there can relate to that. After that, I went to academic boot camp, which was awesome. That was my favorite experience that I got from MEP. I tell everyone when I talk about ABC that I met the best friends that I've ever had. They're still my friends. I stay in touch. I go to their weddings overseas. It's crazy. Like, I've never had such meaningful connections come out of any experience in my life as I did academic boot camp. So that's where I made my second family. And that's really what ended up being my roots while I was at Purdue and what helped me be successful, because anytime I dropped the ball on my academic life, I had people to call me out and hold me accountable, which is very valuable. And like Adam mentioned earlier, you're taking all these courses that you would take during your first semester of freshman year, and it gets you a head start so you can be successful, hit the ground running. And I'll never forget that, because I tried so hard to get a 4.0 that semester, and I didn't. I got a 3.84 using one of the programs that I learned thanks to MEP. And I'm still proud of that, but it always nags me a little bit. After that, while I was there for my college career, I spent a lot of time at the tutorial center. I studied there, I socialized there, I ate there because there's always pizza there. And a couple things I wanted to mention was I was going to countless resume workshops and mock interviews and interview prep sessions, which ultimately helped me feel very comfortable in applying for jobs. And that is experience that a lot of people don't get elsewhere. And you can tell because when you get your first job, and hopefully you get the opportunity to help with recruiting, you're going to see people just come in and they're just all nerves when they're in the interview. They don't know how to communicate their experience, how to show why they're the right person for the job. And I got that at MEP, and I'm very thankful for that. While I was at Purdue, I participated in lots of orgs. First one I wanted to mention was, at the time it was called MIAS. Now it's the Society of Latinos in Engineering and Science. I was a co-founder for that organization, so something I'm also proud of. I joined a fraternity probably a little too early, so I recommend waiting if you're going to choose to do that. But I got to be the president for that organization and lead a chapter of like 20 guys. So a very rewarding experience. I got to learn how to direct meetings. I got to learn how to set goals for an organization, which is all experience that's going to translate to your academics and also to when you go to work. And I did a couple internships for Kraft Foods, which is really cool. That was based in Chicago. And I got to take products from the research phase all the way to, I followed them along as they went to being manufactured. So that was really cool. And I got to be a summer camp counselor. So my last summer at Purdue, this is how I gave back. This is sort of my legacy. I got to counsel students and do the same thing that other students had done for me when I was a little kid, and sort of close the circle. So a very rewarding experience there too. And that's it for me.
That's great. Anyone want to add to the comment that was made earlier about what does MEP mean to you? What is MEP?
Yeah, I mean, I think Adam said it pretty well with family. And I think that's one thing that's always difficult about large schools, is like really finding your family and finding the people that are going to understand what you're doing, whether it's academics or socially or emotionally, or sometimes even financially. So I think to, have a group of people that are there for you and prepared to pick you up when you're down, and are just there to struggle with you, is kind of, I guess, what it means to be a family. And I think all of those things are found within MEP.
I like to say, I think everyone here that's considering Purdue as an option, you have a huge advantage going at it already knowing the MEP family. When I went into it, I did not know MEP. I went to high school in Indiana, but I was not aware or familiar with it. And I learned about MEP through Vicente's brother, Chris, because we had a class together. And, I feel like I would have had a much more um, welcoming, I guess, or initiation into college if I would have had that support system. So just take that into consideration.
How does Can you guys hear me? Okay, good.
Yes.
How does the MEP experience benefit students? I think it's pretty obvious, but anyone want to add to comments that have already been made?
Yeah, I'll comment. So at least for me, the major benefit that I got out of MEP is having that support system transform to be my closest friends. I mean, my closest, probably lifelong friends are from MEP. My girlfriend that I'm dating now, we met on the first day of class. So I've known her for like 7 years. We've been dating for almost 4 years now. The guys who will be at my wedding or who I talk to on the most regular basis, or the people I reach out to when I need help are all, almost over 90% of them are from MEP. And so establishing yourself with these other like-minded individuals who are going to go through the same struggles as you in college, are going to probably see you at your worst in your most fundamental years, are going to be, at least for me and a lot of us, we're those people in MEP. And it's a great crowd to be around. And now that I'm going on 3 years outside of Purdue, we're all doing incredible, amazing things. So it's so cool to look up and be like, oh, wow, remember so-and-so from boot camp? Yeah, she's working at Apple now. Or, oh, remember so-and-so? Yeah, he's about to get his PhD next year. And so it's just incredible to have all these close friends who are really doing some bomb stuff now in their early adulthood. So that's even in my current role at Emerson. So moving to Singapore after college was like incredible. And I got that role through Emily Thomas, who was the president of the NSBE chapter at that time while I was programs chair. And she went to go work for Emerson, and then she recommended me for the role when I graduated 2 years later. So everything comes full circle. So I think that would be the biggest value add that I've seen from going to Purdue and being a part of MEP.
Anyone else?
Mr. Williams, there is a question by Joey Huff. It's on the chat. So if you guys want to address that, I'll pull the slides back up.
Joey would like for us to tell a little bit more details about the academic boot camp that Adam referenced. Can you guys talk a little bit more about that experience, what it is?
Yeah, I can talk about it. So I also did boot camp, I guess 5 years ago now. It feels like it was just yesterday, but boot camp is a summer bridge program that brings in all of the accepted students from the different schools. So there's an engineering boot camp, there's a College of Science boot camp, there's Polytech. And it's a really great experience because you're on campus for 5 weeks during the summer, you're living in the dorms, you're taking classes, you're eating in the dining courts. So I know for us, 5 years ago, the plan of study was built to mirror what your first year of Purdue engineering would be like in the first year engineering program. I'm not sure how it will work if it's remote, but I'm sure like Derek or Ms. Booth can talk about that. But for us, we were taking Calc 1, Chemistry 1, Physics. We did a class that was completely about MATLAB, which is a program that you'll use heavily throughout your school career. We took a class on English. We did the go-kart project, which was super cool. I think someone mentioned that earlier as well. Let me think. And I think we also did kind of like a history lesson on like Black Purdue, which was really cool. But I will say, kind of agreeing with what Adam said, like the people you meet in boot camp are truly lifelong friends. So my best friend now I met in MITE, which is kind of the camp that precedes boot camp. So that's for rising seniors. So she and I have been friends for 6 years now. And so we still talk daily. She lives in Chicago, I live in Cincinnati. And it's like just truly the foundation that you build at boot camp and MITE and other similar programs is just there for a lifetime. And even going into freshman year, just being able to know the campus, know which dining courts have the best food, you know the dorm layouts, you know where everything is on campus. You have like a set of 20 or more friends that you're just like texting constantly, like, hey, let's go to this dining court. Hey, like, who did this homework? Who can explain this test problem? So you kind of come into your freshman year just already set and ready to go. Whereas, you know, if you look around at the other freshmen, they're like looking down at their phones, trying to find a building, sitting alone in the dining courts, which, like, I mean, no one wants to do, but people do. So you really just come in with like a full leg up, both academically and socially.
That's great. I'm going to let Mrs. Booth talk about in the event we have to make the boot camp remote. That is something that we're working on. Okay. I think she's having technical difficulty. We're currently working on recreating a version of the boot camp. I think this is something the students will talk about later. Technology can be wonderful, but you know how it goes. So every
I
aspect.
can chime in on the boot camp, Derek, if you need me to.
Go right ahead, Doctor. This is Dr. G, folks.
I think Virginia has a hip hop version going on over there. I'm not sure. But basically, what we're working on is transitioning the academic components of the boot camp to a virtual platform. Obviously, it will never take the place of the in-person interaction that students would have gotten on campus. But one of the primary goals is to make sure that you're academically prepared and that you have an idea of realistic expectations of what the coursework is and the format of the course. And so with the new rise of COVID-19, we have to be innovative and think about campus and student welfare and safety. And with that in mind, this is moving us more towards a virtual platform, similar to what you could anticipate if you were taking online courses, whether this was a situation or not. So the plan is for us to still move forward with the academic courses that were outlined, the calculus, English, chemistry, and MATLAB programming. Definitely, as you've heard, some of the alumni mentioned that the go-kart is a highlight of the camp. And so we're looking into options of potentially making the go-kart an actual course that students can look forward to in the fall or spring so that they still don't lose that experience. So we just have to shift a little bit. We're still making final decisions on what that would look like, but just know that we are planning a virtual experience that you can still capture that academic component, and also we'll be looking for unique and creative ways to try to build community through virtual platforms as well.
Thank you so much. I've got one last question for our panelists. Why should you consider Purdue and consider joining the MEP program? Why Purdue and why MEP?
Well, I'll take it if we're not all going to jump at once. If it's one thing that I've become appreciative for recently, it's because like Vincente and Jorge, I also technically work in the oil and gas industry. A lot of our products and services go towards production and upstream drilling. If it's one thing I've learned since being in this space, the name Purdue carries so much clout. And I mean, I would like to say that, you know, the university you went to doesn't influence what you learned. And that's true sometimes. You know, I'm sure that the coursework at Purdue might be comparable to the coursework at Ohio State or Michigan or wherever else. But the name Purdue carries so much weight. Like it's incredible. Someone goes, oh yeah, I did chemical engineering at Purdue. They're like, Purdue, a Boilermaker. So much weight. People's faces just light up that you have these credentials on your back, and it's something that nobody can ever take away from you. So even now, our company's doing layoffs. I think my role is pretty safe, but I know worst case scenario, like if something drastic happens and I get let go, I'm a chemical engineer with a Purdue degree in Texas. And that is an incredibly great feeling. It's a great sense of security, knowing no matter what, I got this Purdue degree, I'm gonna be all right. So that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I will say, and I hate to just like repeat everything that my brother says, but the weight of a Purdue engineering degree is just like, I can't even describe it. But one thing I do always tell people is kind of a story of one of the NSBE conferences I was at. There was a career fair. And this must have been last March when I was looking just for full-time positions. I went to Eli Lilly, which is a pretty big company, pharmaceutical company out of Indianapolis. And I was talking to the recruiter, and he said that they had a role open for like quality automation or something, that they were hiring full-time mechanical engineers. And he was like, yeah, we require a 3.8 GPA. And I was like, whoa, like that's kind of high for like, you know, hiring full-time out of engineering. You know, it's very rare that a company has a GPA requirement that high. And he was like, oh yeah, you know, it's standard, whatever. So I was prepared to walk away because like, there was no way I was about to have a 3.8 by the end of my college career, just to keep it real. But he was like, well, let me see your resume. So I handed my resume, you know, it has the school GPA and everything at the top. And he looks and he goes, oh, you're from Purdue. You know, I have an interview slot at 2 p.m. And just like that, like no further questions asked. He didn't even read the rest of my resume, just like sign me up for an interview. So really like just that 360, I think, in itself tells you how powerful a Purdue engineering degree is. Everyone knows the name, no matter where you go. So yeah, that's kind of my experience.
I'll go ahead. I think to tag along with what Adam was saying, the most important, I guess for me, what makes Purdue so special is on my day-to-day, I meet with engineers, and I meet with, they're mostly civil engineers, and just throwing out there, yeah, I'm an engineer from Purdue. That right off the bat already gets you credibility and expectation that you know you're at the same level as them. So I just gotta make sure that I don't say something that lowers that level, right? But it's incredibly powerful just to throw that out there. And I meet in the sales marketing team. I meet with about 15 to 20 engineers on a weekly basis, if not more, depending on if it's a networking event. And I can tell you every single one of them, the reaction is, and Purdue being in Indiana, me being in Texas here, and all over the different states, people recognize Purdue. And a lot of people even ask me if it's Ivy League school. And I tell them it is, just to, you know, mess with them. But it just tells you the level of recognition that the Purdue degree has. Now, as far as MEP goes, I think the value that you get from MEP for me was a lot of networking opportunities, a lot of counsel, because going into it, I didn't have a
motion detected at the driveway.
Sorry, my dogs are outside. I didn't have a family member I can go up and be, hey, what should I do in this situation? What is my best degree? And for me, that person was Miss Booth. Miss Booth, Womack now, but have it. And it really is something that just gives you comfort, because here's this person that just is really giving me a lot of really solid advice for my future. And I didn't have any other way of getting some of that information. So that's, to me, that answers the why MEP. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback to, I think reasons why a student should join MEP is because, yes, it helps you be successful while you're at university. But the whole point of going to college is to get an education, but ultimately it's to either educate you so you can start your own business or to go get a job. And not only will you be more likely to be successful if you're involved with MEP, but you'll also be more prepared when you go into industry or when you go start your business. And those are things that just give you a leg up when you become like a real adult. And that's really valuable experience that a lot of folks miss out on when they go to school.
That's great. Before we close, are there any other comments?
Derek, there are a couple of questions that are being asked on the chat, and I think one of them might be worth mentioning. So somebody was asking if, oh yeah, Cora Regis, she was asking that she entered Purdue as undecided, and can she join MEP even though she's not in the College of Engineering?
The answer is an absolute yes. You can participate in both the boot camp and take the Engineering 180 class and can be considered for our learning community. If you're in first year engineering or in the exploratory major. We did mention the learning community, which last year was the academic boot camp learning community. We've enlarged it to the MEP learning community with 2 different tracks. One track is for students who've been in the boot camp, and so they get to continue that experience on living together, taking chemistry, calculus, as well as the MATLAB class together. Then there's a general MEP track, which the only class you have to take is Engineering 180, which is a 1-year transition course in which we bring up quite a number of employers in. I think we had GE, we had, I think we probably had about 7 or 8 different companies, as well as alumni who came in and talked to students. And so students saw that as a very valuable experience. So what other questions do you guys have, students? One new message. A student says, if I don't see the value in a virtual boot camp, what are other opportunities are there for POC to establish the same type of bonds exhibited today? Kai, can I get you to talk a little bit more? Can you go on unmute yourself and explain a little bit more? Because I don't know if I understand your question completely. While you're unmuting yourself, I would say that the boot camp is very important from the standpoint of international competition.
Okay.
Is that Kai? Kai, you coming in?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
So my question basically was, because the boot camp is being offered virtually, and we're not going to get the same hands-on experience with the courses and living with each other and meeting each other in person, are there other ways we could get something like that, even though the boot camp is virtual?
Well, one of the things that we would be doing if we offered a virtual boot camp is, and we're not sure whether or not it's going to be virtual or not. Let me make that clear. But I would like to say that many of the same elements that you would get in a live one-on-one experience, we can repeat within the boot camp. We can provide tutoring. We can have office hours, and there's quite a number of things we will be able to do. The testing that you have is very beneficial because you have actual tests. And that is what really throws a lot of the students for a loop. You remember that America is I believe it's 26th in the world in preparing students with Purdue having such a large international population. Boot camp is really designed to help you be able to compete with other students globally. And so I'd say whether it's virtual or in person, this experience can benefit you. Would anyone like to else speak on that subject?
Yeah, I would like to add, oh, Virginia, you want to go ahead? Is it working?
Party.
That's so weird. Okay. But I would like to add your question, Kai, that the purpose of the boot camp, in addition to the social interaction, is to really simulate the academic portion and to prep you for what you can expect academic wise. And for example, in the traditional sense, the is on campus and in person, it simulates that environment. We're all very hopeful that we will be back on campus in the fall, but in case we're not, this gives us an opportunity to simulate not only the coursework, but simulate what it would be like in a virtual setting. So, there's still benefit to having that engagement as well. The learning community, which Mr. Williams spoke of in their conversation in the chat that I've answered regarding to the learning community could help you as well. The MEP learning community help you gain that social interaction as well as the academic support in the MEP learning community. And so for participants that do the boot camp this summer, they will have an opportunity to select the boot camp track. And what that allows them to do is stay in the same residence halls. They will first semester core courses together, so they would live, eat, go to class together, which would have essentially what they would have done in boot camp. But if we are virtual this summer, you would still have an opportunity through the learning community to get that hands-on in-person experience. The second track for learning community is a general track, and that is for students that need a little bit more flexibility in their core course choices. So for example, they opt not to take chemistry the first semester, or they may take a different level of math the first semester. And so that gives you some flexibility. And 180 course, which is an MEP course, brings everyone back together, which is our seminar course. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more on what the options would be. I would say it would still be beneficial from an academic perspective. It would still be beneficial to consider the learning community on it. And if you have any other questions about it, feel free to contact us and we can help you navigate through that too.
Any other questions? I'm going to go over just a couple of things because we will next week have our second installment of this episode. We Are Family next week is next Wednesday at 6 p.m. in which we will feature current students. Learn from Colin Mixon, senior in computer engineering, and other current students who live the engineering experience every day. So you'll get firsthand tips about student success, classes, saving money, taking advantage of resources, and getting the most out of your Purdue College career. If you look at the email that I sent you today, it lists all of the different weeks that will not only cover this month, but we'll also be adding a couple more installments next month. With no further ado, we'd like to move forward with Ms. Booth. Are you able to? Well, probably not. Okay.
Hey, Derek, there's a few questions that I think were added to the chat.
Okay. Go ahead and read them.
So someone asked about financial aid and if there are other financial aid availability from MEP. That's definitely a Ms. Booth question. if she's able to.
Yeah, I don't know, and so, there's a possibility for scholarships. Most scholarships happen the second year, um, as opposed to the very first year, probably because what we find is that during the first year, a lot of students who were excellent students, their grades change. And so we have found that most of the scholarship monies are within the colleges. Now we're having, on our third session, we have someone who's specifically going to be talking about scholarships. Her name is Lori Pence. And parents as well as students are going to find the information that she provides to be very, very helpful.
Yeah, I'll add on to that. If you check out NSBE, like the National NSBE page, and I'm sure the same is true for like SHIP, there are a lot of scholarships for incoming freshmen that's just kind of like money up for grabs. And I feel like it's kind of one of those hidden secrets because honestly, not a lot of people apply for them. So like I've won 2 or 3 NSBE scholarships like back when I was in school. They're not like massive amounts of money, but if you apply to a bunch, it really adds up to make a difference. So definitely look into like the student org pages. And I also think Ms. Booth is sending messages.
To add on top of that, I know from my own experience as a student, and even from my experience as now working professional, I'm going to drop a gem to you. So at the beginning of the school year, maybe sometime in like August, September, around Industrial Roundtable, it's a big career fair. MEP has this like awards night or something like that. It's part of it is a prep for IR, so it gives students a chance to network with all the companies that are going to be there. And the other half is just to recognize outstanding MEP students, the staff and faculty, so on and so forth. It's a really nice formal gathering. And the year that I went and the year that I went, or the first year I went even as a freshman, and the most recent year I went, which is as a graduate, they just hand out free money. They just hand out the free money to people who go. And so there are a lot of people there who got scholarship money from these companies just by attending. So yeah, Robbie's absolutely right. I mean, money just appears, and if you're at the right place at the right time with the right grades and standing, I mean, it's yours for grabs. And I'm speaking that from pure experience because as a company, we've just thrown money at MEP before. So plenty of opportunities there. And then another thing too that people don't talk about is that I didn't realize this until I started talking with friends outside of the School of Engineering. If you're an engineer, you have paid internships and co-ops. We used to always joke with our other friends who were like in business or marketing or whatever. And they were like, yeah, I got an internship, but it's not paid. I'm like, you got a what? Sounds like a volunteer assignment. So when you get these summer internships and even semester long co-ops, you're getting paid. You're getting paid well, like upwards of $30 an hour or more, plus relocation. So I've heard of some people, they take a semester long co-op or even a summer long internship, especially at some of these bigger companies, oil and gas companies, and you'll make enough money to buy a car or put a dent in your semester tuition just by saving up your money from that one summer, one semester. So those are just 2 things that I thought of that came to mind as far as other ways you can grab money real quick. That's
fantastic.
Also to add to that, MEP hires a lot of students. We hire a lot of students for office assistants. We hire MEP students for tutoring. We hire MEP students for our mentoring program, which was mentioned earlier, AB7G. So while that's not a scholarship per se, we do provide other, to help with some.
Someone just asked, how can you apply for jobs through MEP? If you would email me, I can send you the link. That my email address is dwilliams@purdue.edu. We'll start taking applications about 1 week before school starts. So we'll probably not, be hiring just yet. But another thing is we do hire for the summer. So very often we have quite a number of students who've made an application. And of course, we hire a substantial number of students during the summer as well. So we're I don't know that there's many other departments on campus that hires many of our students. And I think that speaks to our director, who's very concerned about helping students financially. I was looking to see if there are any other questions, because we're about to close. Now remember that each one of these are taped and they're on our YouTube live channel. So if someone missed it, and then remember, we're going to be covering many other subjects. And so each week we will bring to you, we went and found some great people that you can get some great information from. Are there any closing comments? I think I'm going to turn it over to our interim associate director to close us out today. But I just want to see if there were any closing comments from any of our panelists, anything that you forgot to say.
No, this is just a very exciting time for you. Hope to see you guys when I go visit Purdue. I need to go visit Purdue. Stay home.
Exactly. Stay safe. So, Dr. G, if you would, we haven't introduced the staff today. I'll turn that over to her, and for anyone we may not have already introduced, and close us out. Thanks so much, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.
Hi, I think we've heard from everyone on staff except Vivek. Vivek, I don't think we've heard from you. So would you like to say a few words real quick?
Sure, I will. Thank you, Dr. Gatson. So I'm Vivek Muralidharan. I'm a PhD student in the School of Aeronautics and Astronautics. And I work with MEP as a graduate assistant, and my main work includes managing the Academic Success Center. So MEP has a very awesome success tutorial center. So we provide free tutoring services to everyone, all the MEP students. So it's absolutely free of cost, and we have a lot of books and resources like previous year's question paper, homeworks and stuff. So it's great resources to have, and MEP offers all these things to you absolutely free of cost. And we want students to come there, have a community together, study together, and I'm sure all the our alumni would agree to this thing. Some of them all have been previous tutors, so they can also second to this thing that MEP has great resources to have.
Thanks for that, Vivek, and thank you all. I want to give a special thanks to our panelists and that are also alums that are on the Zoom tonight. And thank you so much for sharing time out of your schedule to be with us and to future Purdue students. And then we want to also thank all of you for being on this Zoom meeting tonight. Thank you for making time and effort to hear more about Purdue, hear more about MEP, learn what we have to offer, learn about some of our exciting programs, hear from our alumni. We really appreciate your time. And to echo the same sentiment that Mrs. Womack has put in the chat, we really want all of you at Purdue. So we, if you haven't accepted your offer yet, that you would do so. Please know that we're all here to be a resource to you. We're all here navigating uncharted territory that COVID-19 has presented us with, but we are very dedicated to still servicing and supporting our students. So we want you to know that. Mr. Williams, I think, has provided, or someone, Adam's provided Mr. Williams' email address. Also find our contact information on our website. I can drop my email in this chat box as well. But Mr. Williams, do you have anything else you want to add for any of the upcoming sessions or any special instructions or anything? Thank you again, and I look forward to meeting you all at Purdue. So a good one.
Thank you.
No, that's about it. We want to thank everyone for coming. My email address is dwilliams@purdue.edu. Feel free to send us any questions that you might have, and we'll look forward to seeing you at our very next MEP live session, which will be Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Tell your friends and meet and talk to some of our current students. Bye-bye.